Sierra's moment. Like, one thing that I talk about is how we talk about the prayer Sierra prayed, but Sierra also had to get rid of her future before she got to her Russell.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you catch it?
Did you catch
She
that?
threw it.
She
Did
had
you
to get
catch
rid
it?
of her future before she got to her Russell.
Like, really?
And so we don't know the process, that everybody's process is going to be something so different. And before we got to Sierra, we saying Fantasia and Beyonce and Jay-Z because of, you know, society and what we saw in social media about relationship goals to hashtag. And there are so many people trying to think that there is a recipe, you know, if I could just get the famous recipe for this relationship. But you're not getting the Russell Wilson. You're not even Sierra. Even the people in the church who keep talking about Boaz, that was Ruth's man.
That's Ruth's man.
Because when I read the story, I'm not laying on the floor for you to come. Right?
Yeah, kind of. No, wait. Especially at your feet.
At
friend,
your
and
feet.
you're not already my boo. Oh no, Jesus.
So, but that's what she needed for that
Absolutely.
man, and so you can't pray because you're not Sierra.
That's right.
That's not your story. It's not your design. That's not your future, and it's not your Russell.
It's not your Russell or your future.
Or your future,
right,
hopefully.
Right.
But that's why you can't pray Sierra prayer.
You cannot pray.
No.
So you also put Miles Monroe quote. Your marriage is only as good as your individual.
That's my favorite quote. When I heard him preach that in a sermon, and then I saw it again in the book, that stuck with me, and I think it's gonna stick with me forever. Because a lot of people think that marriage is the end all for their single issues. It's not the end all. It exposes more of your single issues. So while you can, you need to work through everything that you can during your single season, because marriage is going to have its own set of things for you to put into your luggage. And so your marriage is dependent, and the strength of your marriage is dependent on the strength of you as an individual first. We want to have, be the hashtag relationship goals, and we want the marriage, but the marriage, and people like, well, the young people getting married, and their marriage is not lasting like our grandparents. Yeah, the grandparents had their own things in their own society, and some of them were made to be married. But when you get married at 10, you don't have much that you're bringing in.
That's right.
Right? But when we're getting married in our 20s and our 30s, and we're going through society, and we're going through all of these things that's happening in culture, we coming into a situation with a fully loaded suitcase, and then trying to find room to stuff other stuff in that was already in there. But before, I travel a lot. I have to empty out the baggage from the previous trip in order for me to input the stuff that I need for the next trip. And that's what you got to do with you in your single place. Empty out everything that you can for your individual, because marriage has its own clothes.
It has its own clothes. And the first thing is you have to be honest with acknowledging that you got clothes in the bag.
Why do we like to act like we don't have stuff in the
What?
bag?
The bag is got clothes hanging out of it, friend.
I mean, the wheels hanging, it's lopsided, and you acting like I'm just, good. No, it's not okay. There isn't a reason that you've been married 8 times, and it's not every person.
It's not every person. And let's go here. Even like trust issues, we know that sometimes, people don't come, have families of origin that is helpful and sweet and full of love and Christian. Some people really are born in a traumatic family experience. Right. So you've learned not to trust at a very early age. Yes. And now you want to be in a relationship where it's literally based on trust. You got to unpack a lot of that family of origin stuff.
Right. You do. And not even a family. When you have your family stuff, because in all honesty, my issue of dealing with trust came from outside.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't come from inside. And so when I started to deal with it, and I realized that trust was a space, I picked this up along the journey. So think about it. If you have your family origin as your trust, and then you had a trust that came from the outside with friends, and now you're trying to get with a man, and the man, you got a whole lot of stuff that you need to unpack, because it'll take you back to when my daddy didn't show up when I was in 5th grade, right? And now I'm 40 and I'm looking at this man, and I just blew up about him not showing up, but it really came back from daddy in 5th grade. So now at 40, you got to walk yourself all the way back to 10 years old to deal with that.
Right.
But if you could just deal with it before you get to the spouse while you're on your way, and that's for men and women, deal with your individual. Because marriage is not going to fix that.
And if you're not careful, like even as a Christian, marriage has a tendency to highlight. I'm thinking of the word magnify.
Oh, yes.
It will magnify whatever dysfunction, whatever addictions, whatever sexual indiscretions. It will magnify it.
Right.
So let's work on ourselves.
Work on ourselves.
Work on ourselves.
Yes.
Okay. You mentioned working on all ships in your life, friendships, partnerships, etc. Allows us to see our flaws and work on it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Because sometimes we look in the mirror and we don't like to see it's always everybody. And because of the times that we're living in, we can get so used to posting the best picture that we live as if that first picture that you took that wasn't that cute where the angle was off, we live our lives in this filter.
Oh yeah.
And we don't get to see the areas and spaces where I could have had more clarity. And when you're in your ships, I call them the ships because partnerships and friendships, I started to realize that your work ethic at your job can show you a lot about yourself. Your work ethic with your friendships can show you a lot about yourself. And if you take the time to let the ships teach you where you are, you can get off the shore, get in the water and start to swim so you can realize I got some work to do.
That's good.
Like I'm a mess.
That's so
good.
good.
And we don't like to admit that. God came and he graced us. And sometimes, especially believers, we have a hard time accepting the fact that we are mess.
That we're flawed.
We're flawed.
Absolutely.
We're flawed.
Right.
I used to be so upset. I'll be transparent since you don't get to be that way, right? I used to be so upset when people would say, assume that I'm mean. And I'd be like, man, everybody just thinks I'm mean and I am not. I am.
Right.
I will give my clothes off my back, literally, right? And so I had to start looking at it when I was at work. I noticed that because I would live in my head, I'm not paying attention to what's happening around me. And so I was coming off as mean because when people were passing me, I'm so up here that I'm not paying attention around here. So what I did, because it was something I need to work on, I put a timer in my phone and it would literally say smile. So that my Apple Watch would tell me to smile until I got used to it. Because I needed to remember, like, people think that because you're so busy thinking that your facial expression, did you even notice that somebody said good morning? And I would tell people at first, I would say, I'm rude on accident. And then I realized you don't have to be rude, just fix it. And so it made me be more aware and cognitive of it because my coworkers were calling me out. And when they were calling me out, I was defensive at first, and then I had to accept the fact, like, oh, wow, I can see me. And my coworkers were able to show me, and now I'm everywhere I walk in, I constantly smile at people and say good morning. Like, it's programmed in me now, but it took the ship of being at work and the partnership for me to realize, oh, yeah, that's not nice.
I love that because when I think of like working on friendships and work relationships and things like that, I think sometimes we have such a mentality, I think, in this new age of cutting people off. Like, I hate like when the new year comes and everybody's like, oh, I got 15 people to cut off. And it's like, I want to scream to all those people, no, God wants you to work on those things that they're fussing at you about.
Right.
And I love the fact that you were in your head, so it was really innocent.
Right.
But you appreciated what they said so much that you said, well, no, let me actually look at myself. Right. So it's like, instead of cutting all the ships off that don't really suit us, it's almost like find out, well, is it really us?
Right. And even the ones that you have to cut off when you realize it's a toxic thing, it's still a two-party thing.
Of course.
And not that you actually, because at first I was so focused on trying to be better. I was paying attention to everything that everybody had to say that I didn't stop and just say, stop looking at all the flaws, really sit with God and say, where can I grow and what could be better for me, and then take the time to work on those things. And sometimes you do need to, some people do need to
some
leave.
people do need to go.
They do need to go, but something that they said to you could be a place in an area that you actually do need to work on for the next place, or just for you where you are currently. So even though they're gone, there could be some truth in what they had to show you about you. And if there is some truth to it, then do the work so that you can be the better.
Right, do the work. Because then it's like a double win. You got toxic out of your life, and then you get to grow.
And then you grow.
And you get to grow.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win. You encourage the reader to fully engage with others, not randomly, but strategically.
Right.
Help us, like, you are a strategic thinker.
I am.
And I am a kumbaya person. Fly by night, go with the wind, right? Help us, friend. Okay, we can't give you all the tips in the book, but help us to understand like how to strategically engage. Just give a few tips with that.
So when you're talking about strategically engaging, I think especially when it comes to the single, we get so focused on our checklist and we run these interviews. I'll never forget. I was conversing with this guy, and every time he talked to me, it sounded like I was interviewing to be America's next first lady. First of all, if you know anything about me, first lady is not probably befitting of me. But God, I don't know what he be doing, right?
So don't say
but
anything
every
too quick,
conversation with him sound like an interview
Wow.
for a Fortune 500 company. And I realized that is not becoming. He was not getting to know me. He was interviewing me. I was just simply asking questions. And he missed the opportunity, even though I didn't have the desire to relate to him in that way. You did miss the opportunity for good conversation because you were trying to run the interview and see if I check all. How's your prayer life? Do you speak in tongues? You can cook rice and gravy. And, and I'm like, just have a conversation. He never once asked me how my day was. Everything that he asked had to do with the future. Nothing to see who I currently was. And so sometimes we're so focused on what we want out of it that we don't get to see how we're working inside of it. Just say hey to the man. I mean, every good morning text, oh girl, let me plan my wedding tomorrow. He just said good morning. Like, enjoy the moment, engage in the moment, and be strategic to know what you desire, but also be intentional to just breathe in and relax a little bit. I think we put so much strain because we want to get down the aisle that we don't pay attention to the steps that it takes to get there. And we miss out because we're so, it was an India I read, this is supposed to be a journey, right? It's a journey, not a destination. We're so destination driven that we're missing the journey. So pay more attention to the journey, enjoy more of the moments. And engage. Just
some people you meet might be a friend. They might end up like a brother or a business deal, but either way, fully experience them.
Right. But if I've ever said brother, I meant that. So
me too.
No,
yeah, that's how I used to.
So if I hit you with the bro,
we sisters and bro.
Friend zone.
You know what? I think that's okay. We're not gonna get off topic. I think that's a church girl thing.
That's probably.
I used to always do that. Like, oh hey, I would flirt, and then when I realized you're not it, brother,
man of God,
if I call you man of God, not in the flirty way.
No, if it's man of God,
it's over with.
It's over with. Pastor.
Yeah. God bless you, apostle.
God bless you, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. You do that little good hand right here. That's the one.
God bless. God bless. I'm not she and she's not me. How about that? Okay. So then there's another title of the book called Terms and Conditions. So, a longing heart that tries to only show the mate the side of her that he likes instead of being truly, authentically herself.
Yes.
Talk about it.
Because I talk to so many women and I realize that their values are not at the table.
Right.
Who they are is not at the table. They hear what he desires
and go with
and it makes them afraid because you know what? FOMO is real, fear of missing out. That's so real and it's so relevant in how we relate to others that because I am afraid that I am going to miss out on another opportunity to be in a relationship, I'm only bringing to the table the things that he says that he likes. Because if I show him that I have a little ratchet in me and he got a whole lot of Jesus, and if my playlist, a Tupac song come up, he might think he might leave me. So because I am afraid of missing out on this opportunity, I don't bring myself to the table. And then you find out that you are being unfulfilled and you're not getting what you want, but it's not his fault if you didn't bring who you were to the table. And don't be afraid that you're gonna miss out if he passes you by. Someone else can come along, but you will never see it. And they'll never know the real you because you bring in what he wanted. He said he want a girl, and I was talking to this young lady. I was trying to mentor her. But I can always tell who she was conversing with by how she behaved.
Wow.
I say, oh, he must be a church boy because she wearing like business suits. Oh, he must be a thug. She got a Tim's on. And she didn't realize that that's what she was doing, but she was becoming whatever he wanted. And she never one time just been her authentic self. She didn't do it so much so that she didn't even know who she was. She was going into character in every situation she was in.
But can I say that might be the foundation of that behavior?
Right.
You just don't know, who you are. So that might be, would you say, for that single person who questions like, oh my God, I think I do that. I don't know who I am. I think they should stop. Like, let's get off the dating scene. Let's start to find out who we are. You know what I mean? What do you say to that?
I say to that, you should take the pause. But one thing that I found about today's time in society, when we take the pause, instead of us taking real pauses, we just adapt to the latest hashtag, right? So when it was a thing that, no new friends, everybody want to cut all of their friends off because Drake dropped the song No New Friends. So now we already want to get our friends. When we went to this phase of, I'm going to be happy single girls trip, then people start turning up a little more and still was falling into becoming somebody else's pattern instead of just stopping altogether. But I really think that people are afraid to go cold turkey. They're afraid to be by themselves. And that is a serious thing that they need to overcome. It is okay.
It is okay.
It is okay to go through a season of truly being single, because I'm real life single. I know that I have people that say they're single and they just mean that my DMs dry, right? Keep them that way.
Look, I'm about to say, don't start.
Don't start, because I will not. DMs dry, the phone is dry, and I really went through a season where I'm not conversing with anybody. I'm not, going out with anybody. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm not entertaining anyone but me. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, I have to get to know you, because I was a different me than I was after heartbreak. I was a different person, and I hated her because she was so different from what I was used to. So I had to get to know her. I talk a little more now. I bring me to the table. So I'm not that quiet little girl that somebody else knew. I have a voice, and I use my voice, and I'm not afraid to use my voice and to speak up. I'm a little bolder now. My filter, it might not always be on, and I had to embrace that. That's just who I am, and get to love me and learn me so that nobody else can actually tell me to become something that I'm not. But I experienced it, and because of that experience, I had to go back and say, never again.
Right.
Never again.
And you know what? Everybody wants to be loved for their authentic self. With the weave, without, like, you literally want transparency, or it's not a real relationship, period.
It's not.
It's really not.
It's like
if you don't have a relationship with yourself, you cannot be in authentic relationships with other people.
No, and if the person that you're with, they don't know they're dating a mannequin.
Exactly.
When you think about a mannequin in the store in the window, it's on display.
Yep.
Everybody sees it, but it's only dressed according to the person that takes the time to dress it.
That's it. That's good.
And you don't want to be a mannequin in a relationship, but you don't want to be the person that's dating a mannequin. So the best thing that you can do, if you're a real person, be real, but be true to you first.
That's right.
If you a church girl, be true to that. If you would rather go to church and to a worship conference than the Beyonce concert or to the club, be true to that. Be honest about it. If you don't drink, don't drink. If you're not, being promiscuous or having sex, if you celibate, be celibate.
No.
Tell him no. And if he is the guy that is not okay with who you are, then he's not for you. Period.
And it's okay.
Because somebody in the world, when you think about your Devon Murphys and your Megan Goods, she was on her journey of celibate, and she crashed into Beyonce. Sorry, plug. She crashed into someone that was also on the same journey.
That's right.
And everybody else who missed it, they missed the opportunity. And you have to get to the point where I got to this place where I'm like, boy, you missing out. You just don't know that I am the best thing to ever happen to your life. And it's not arrogant, it's confidence.
That's right.
It is
because you took the time to get to know yourself.
Right.
I love it. You talk about compromising because of fear.
Yes. Fear is such a...
Oh, it's a bully.
It's such a bully. But we let it bully us.
We do.
And so because there are so many things that people are afraid of, that fear, I made a decision that fear was not going to run my life.
That's good.
I refused to let fear run me. Fear of missing out on the opportunity, on the man, even if it's a speaking engagement. Fear was not going to drive me. You know, I'm me. Some days I might put heels on. Other days I may have on my Jordans. And that's who I am. And I couldn't be afraid to be that. But fear is a bully.
Yeah, and especially like in the single world, it's like fear of being alone or being like whatever you think the old lady with the cats. Like that's how people can, like she's a spinster, never got married, she has 15 cats.
Right.
Like fear of just living that out when, you know, it just doesn't have to drive everything that you do, and you end up compromising.
That's what happens. And I had the conversation with God in all honesty, and he said, what if I never do? What if I never send him? Will you be okay? And that was a long, dramatic pause for me.
What you say, baby?
Will you be okay?
We want to know what you say, sweetie.
And I said, I will.
Look at God.
And in the moment of being able to accept it, now it took me for the rest of the day for me to really sit with it.
I wouldn't answer that right away.
I had to really sit with it for a little while, like, if he never sends them. Then I went in the scripture and saw that there were some people that he never sends. And with tears running down my face, probably like the next wee hours of the morning, I said, I'll be okay if it's just me and you. And something shifted in me in that moment. Now, it did send the shift where I thought, you know, Sean was gonna show up, you know. But
you was like, let me go and just go to Whole Foods. Look, because I know he's right here.
Because I know that should have been like a big deal for you, right? That I told you that I would be okay.
Like Abraham and Isaac. Like, where's my ram? That's like the comparison.
Ram, is it you?
Is it you? All right.
But it wasn't. But I was still okay.
That's good.
But it shifted in me, and it shifted my focus to be like, I can't focus on this one box. He's doing too much and has done so much. There's so many things that I've done in my singleness now that I don't know if I would have been married if I would have been able to pen 6 books.
That's right.
When I was gonna have the time, you know.
And you know, babies and all kinds of things.
Babies and all that, like would I have had the time? So let me just appreciate where I was. But I had to come to grips with the fact that even if he never does, I will be okay. That might not be for everybody.
It's time to take a therapeutic breath on that one, like seriously, because it's telling God, I want you above all, above my desire, above my will. Your will, Lord, not mine. Good God from glory. God bless you, woman of God. God bless. Hallelujah. Okay. I have another quote. I have to date him because there will never be another. Again, that's all in the realm of that fear. Like, let me date this dysfunctional guy or this toxic guy or whatever, because the fear of I will never find anybody else ever in life.
I actually went through this phase of like asking I had this one point in life where all of my friends, everybody around me was married. And everywhere that I went, everybody was married. And if they weren't married, they were engaged. And so I had this conversation with my married friends at the time, and I was like, so what am I doing? What do I need to do? And they all had this list. Oh, you need to smile more. Oh, you need to post more full body selfies on Instagram. Oh, when men DM you, that's why you're single, because you're not responding. And you not got to respond to the DMs, and you got to be nice to the people, and you got to stop looking at how they... So they had all these lists of things, and as I'm trying to go through the list, I did try to go through the list, because I'm thinking, single, it got to be something wrong with me, because the guys assume that she must be crazy if she's still single. And then I had this moment where I paused. I don't have to date everybody because I don't have anybody.
That's good.
And I made the decision that if I didn't like what I see, if nothing caught my attention, then I don't have to engage. It's not a law. And even if it was a law, unless it's the law of God, then I was going to have to be a citizen that broke the law. And I got to the moment where I didn't have to. People will make you think that you have to do everything to get to this next phase in life.
That's right.
And I just realized, y'all had me, the list was so long, y'all, I was depressed and sad, like, because I'm not smiling. Oh my God.
Let me smile. Let me figure this out.
Smiling. Oh my God, I'm not posting selfies. And I just stopped and said, I don't have to. When he finds me, I'll be at a better place and I'll be whole. and I'll be smiling then, but for the right reason of what I needed for me, not what
Right.
other people told me I had to have.
Right.
Because all of that stuff didn't work anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't work, and it's almost like when it's your time, it's your time.
It's your time.
It is. When it's your season, it's your season. But if God has some more lessons, then we kind of have to master those lessons.
Right.
But I think the friends say it out of like real love.
They did, because everybody wants me married.
Yeah, especially Auntie right
Look,
here.
look, you co-workers. Look, the other day at work, the UPS man came. It was my nephew's uncle. Because he knew me, all my coworkers like, oh girl, it's my nephew uncle. Like, that's why I know him. I'm not dating the UPS guy. Like, chill out. But yeah, everybody wants me married, so they,
Oh Lord.
yeah, they just do a lot. But it's okay.
It's okay.
Calm down.
Because it's okay. And maybe some of us want that credit, like, I did this union right here. Only God's gonna get that credit.
Only God.
Only God.
Will probably
will
be
get
only
that.
God. So y'all may be my hindrance.
Like, seriously.
Chill out.
Chill
Let
out.
God do His great work.
Exactly. So there's another chapter in the book called Relational Intelligence. I love it. Quote, don't rush to relate. Getting relationship advice and how to trust other people's advice. Basically, you was just like, you then diminish your own voice. Learn how to appreciate your own voice.
Right.
So you were talking about like every advice you can't really take on for yourself.
Right, because I got to this place because I realized that I was getting advice from someone that they were giving me based upon their knowledge and their experience, but then I realized their knowledge and their experience is not really healthy. So I'm getting advice from an unhealthy source, and they have good intentions.
Yeah, from the heart.
From the heart, but it's coming from the heart that's shattered and broken from being in a toxic union.